Ukraine's MiG-29s just pulled off something that even NATO air forces might hesitate to try: a dual-target precision strike using a legacy Soviet airframe and some modern French smart bombs. This is more than just clever piloting. It's a textbook case of battlefield adaptation, and it sends a not-so-subtle message to Moscow: even our old jets can become cutting-edge threats. Hey friends, I'm Wes O'Donnell, veteran, journalist, and today I'm feeling the need for speed. I cover the intersection of warfighting and tech, and today's story has both in spades. We're talking about how Ukraine just turned the MiG-29 into a precision bomber with a French accent. Let's set the stage. Somewhere over occupied Ukraine, a MiG-29 Fulcrum, yes, the Soviet-era air superiority fighter that was supposed to be retired by now, launches into the gray-blue morning sky. Its pilot isn't just chasing enemy fighters or doing loops for morale. He's packing a NATO-grade smart bomb, plugged into systems that the MiG's original designers would need a cigarette and a stiff drink to understand. The mission? 2 targets, 1 flight. First up, a Russian troop concentration. It could have been a temporary barracks, a mobile command post, or some poor conscripts pretending their trench latrine is hardened infrastructure. Whatever it was, it got flattened. Reports suggest the pilot used standoff tactics, releasing the weapon from a safe distance, possibly over 50 kilometers away, meaning this wasn't a suicide run. It was a calculated, high-precision strike that avoided flying into a hail of Russian air defenses. But he didn't head home. No post-strike vodka yet. Instead, the same aircraft turned and cruised towards a second objective, a radar site. That's big. Radar isn't just hardware, it's Russia's early warning backbone. Taking it out degrades the enemy's ability to spot inbound aircraft and track missile launches. And it adds more static to an already cluttered electronic battle space. So a single MiG in one mission eliminates both a personnel threat and a sensor threat. Now, I can't show you the video of the strike here without blurring it so much as to make it essentially useless, and I don't want YouTube to demonetize me into oblivion, but I'll drop the link in the description. Now, this isn't common. Air forces generally don't send out legacy fighters on double-tap precision bombing runs. The fact that Ukraine pulled this off without losing the aircraft or the pilot, and likely without tipping off Russian air defense networks until it was too late, is the kind of quiet lethal professionalism that doesn't make headlines, but absolutely changes doctrine. And think about the pilot. This isn't a kid flying a drone from an office park in Nevada. This is someone likely trained on analog gauges, who's now operating a semi-digital Frankenjet with a French smart bomb strapped under one wing, and a target list that would give NATO air commanders pause. They had to manage route planning, electronic warfare risks, friend or foe identification, target confirmation, and a 2-phase strike, all while flying an aircraft that drinks fuel like a MiG at happy hour. What we're seeing here is less about the gear and more about the mindset. This was a deliberate, skillful exploitation of Ukraine's increasingly diverse arsenal. It's the MiG as a scalpel, not as a hammer. And that tells us something bigger. Ukraine is no longer reacting. It's planning, striking first, and reshaping the rules of engagement one sortie at a time. This wasn't just some lucky mission. It was a carefully coordinated, high-stakes operation that had to navigate Russian radar, electronic warfare, and the constant risk of interception. Pulling it off with a jet designed in the early 1980s? Well, that's like entering a Formula One race with a 1986 Toyota Corolla and winning. So let's talk about how Ukraine just turned a Cold War relic into a multi-tool worthy of 2025. The aircraft in question, a MiG-29 Fulcrum, a platform originally built to duel NATO jets over Germany back when Reagan was telling Gorbachev to tear down this wall. It was never designed to carry precision Western ordnance. It wasn't supposed to play nicely with French avionics, and it certainly wasn't meant to destroy 2 different targets with 2 separate smart bombs in one mission. But Ukraine made it happen. The bomb of the hour, was the AASM Hammer. Think of it as a smart kit for dumb bombs, except this one's French and overachieving. Shh. We can't say the word France around here too loudly, otherwise.
Did someone say la France, huh? What I am back, monsieur. You want to talk about the AASM Hammer, huh? Well, we can absolutely talk about it. All you want the fulcrum, eh?
It combines a guidance system with a modular propulsion kit. In layman's terms, a bomb that thinks and flies instead of just falling. You can strap on different guidance heads, laser, GPS, or INS, and even extend the range with a rocket booster, turning what was once a short-range threat into a standoff weapon with 50-plus kilometers of reach. That means Ukrainian pilots can now hit Russian targets without flying into the bear's mouth. And here's where it gets clever. Ukraine didn't just bolt a French bomb onto a Soviet jet and decide to say, "We're good, bro." They figured out how to feed the MiG's targeting data into the Hammer's brain mid-flight. That's some serious avionics jury-rigging. Think welding Apple CarPlay into a 1980s Lada and actually having it work on the highway. Tactically, this opens a new playbook. Instead of lobbing artillery from miles away or burning fuel to fly Western aircraft with high maintenance overhead, Ukraine now has a legacy jet that can deliver pinpoint strikes without risking high-value platforms. They don't need to overwhelm Russian defenses with mass. They can now use precision and timing. A single MiG loaded with 2 smart munitions becomes a miniature strategic bomber. And remember, the MiG isn't stealthy. It's not cruising under the radar. So this operation likely relied on real-time battlefield intelligence, probably shared via Link 16 or another NATO standard comms relay, and coordinated airspace deconfliction to sneak it in and out alive. They likely used the Saab 340 AWACS for this as well. You don't just wake up and fly into Russian airspace with a game plan like this. It requires integrated targeting data, radar suppression from other assets, and a tactical window where Russia wasn't looking or wasn't able to do anything about it. And here's the kicker. This was 1 pilot, 1 jet, and 2 targets with 0 losses. This is the future for Ukraine, not buying 500 brand new jets, but making the ones they already have do things they were never supposed to do. It's tactical evolution by necessity, because when you don't have an Air Force with depth, you innovate. When your enemy has S-400s on every hill, you adapt. And when France gives you smart bombs, you bolt them to a Soviet frame and tell Moscow, good luck stopping this. Bottom line, this wasn't just an airstrike. It was a message. Ukraine doesn't need a blank check. It needs tools, because when you give them the right ones, they don't just use them, they rewrite the manual. So why does this matter? Because this is strategic innovation. We're watching it in real time, folks, not just tactical. Ukraine is taking donated weapon systems from across the Western world and building a Frankenstein's monster of capability. A MiG with French bombs, American targeting data, and possibly Polish software tweaks. That's what modern warfare looks like when your survival depends on improvisation. This also means that Russia can't trust its own assumptions anymore. MiGs used to be predictable, short-range, old-school, easy to track. Now they can be launching smart bombs from 70 kilometers out with satellite accuracy. That shatters Russia's comfort zone and forces them to spend more resources on defense in depth. Also, there's the NATO question. Integrating weapons like the AASM Hammer onto Soviet platforms means Ukraine is taking interoperability into its own hands. NATO doesn't have to rearm them from scratch. Ukraine is teaching itself how to fight NATO style without having to throw away its entire arsenal. There's a broader lesson here for the West. We've traditionally approached air power from a platform-centric perspective. Big jets, big budgets, long procurement timelines. Ukraine is showing us that capability doesn't have to mean brand new everything. It means flexibility, adaptability, and above all, creativity. We're watching the emergence of what I would call asymmetric interoperability. Ukraine is building a hybrid force that can talk to NATO systems but doesn't depend on NATO supply chains. That makes them more resilient, more unpredictable, and frankly, a lot more dangerous to Russia. Now remember, this is really more than just one MiG sortie. This is rewriting what's possible in 21st century warfare. When your dumb jets can talk to smart bombs, and your smart bombs can hit 2 targets on 1 run. You've turned improvisation into doctrine. Ukraine's ability to do more with less isn't just inspiring, it's disruptive. It means the next generation of military innovation won't come from Pentagon white papers. It's going to come from the trenches, the flight lines, and the necessity of survival. And that's a story worth watching. That's it for today, friends. Subscribe if you're feeling the need for speed. And as always, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Crimea is Ukraine.